Martin Luther King Jr., on building a just society. Imagine a world where every individual has the right to live freely and equally under the law, a world where the injustices that have plagued humanity for centuries finally give way to a society built upon justice and equality. This vision, so profound and yet so distant, was the dream of Martin Luther King Jr., one of the most influential figures in the history of civil rights. In his speech titled "Building a Just Society," King articulates a clear path towards achieving this dream. Let me tell you this, as we dive into his words, you will find not just historical insights, but a call to action that resonates deeply within each of us. You might be wondering, how can we build a society where every person is treated equally? King addresses this question head-on, emphasizing the importance of education as the cornerstone of progress. Here's something you should know. In the early days of the civil rights movement, many African Americans were illiterate. King understood that if people couldn't read and write, they wouldn't be able to effectively advocate for their rights. He founded the Atlanta University Center's Booker T. Washington Institute for Education and Research, which aimed to improve literacy rates among African American youth. By empowering individuals through education, King believed that a more informed populace would demand and achieve justice. But education alone isn't enough. It needs to be coupled with action. King speaks about the necessity of nonviolent protest, a tactic he learned from Mahatma Gandhi. He recounts a time when he and other activists were arrested for protesting segregation laws. Instead of succumbing to violence, they chose to endure the pain and humiliation of imprisonment, believing that such actions would draw attention to their cause. Here's what you should know. During his time in prison, King wrote "Letter from Birmingham Jail," a letter that became one of his most famous works. It's a testament to his commitment to nonviolence and his belief in using peaceful means to bring about change. King also emphasizes the importance of unity. He talks about the need for different racial groups to work together, to recognize their shared humanity, and to fight for common goals. You might wonder, how do we bridge the gap between different communities? One lesson from King's life is that it starts with understanding and empathy. He once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." This means that when one group suffers injustice, it affects all others, making it imperative for everyone to stand against it. Consider the example of the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955. Despite initial resistance, African American leaders worked with white allies to create a unified front, which ultimately led to the desegregation of public transportation. This shows that when we stand together, even small victories can lead to significant change. But King's message extends beyond just racial issues. He speaks about the broader context of injustice in America, touching on economic inequality and the struggles faced by workers. You should know that during his time, many African Americans were subjected to wage discrimination and poor working conditions. King's support for labor unions and his advocacy for fair wages and benefits for workers underscored the interconnectedness of social justice issues. In 1968, King delivered a speech called "I Have Been to the Mountaintop," where he discussed the need for solidarity across all marginalized groups. He urged his followers, including workers, to unite in their pursuit of justice. So how do we apply these principles today? Let me tell you this. In our current society, we face new forms of injustice, from systemic racism and police brutality to economic disparities and climate change. King's legacy teaches us that building a just society requires persistent effort and a willingness to engage in meaningful dialogue. We must educate ourselves and others, practice nonviolence, and work towards unity. Consider the Black Lives Matter movement, which gained momentum following the murder of George Floyd. While it faced challenges, it also brought together people from various backgrounds to fight for racial justice. Similarly, movements advocating for environmental protection remind us that social justice and ecological sustainability are inextricably linked. We must recognize that the fight for one causes harm to the other. King's message is not just historical, it's relevant today more than ever. As we reflect on his words, let's ask ourselves, are we doing our part to build a just society? Are we educating ourselves and others about the realities of systemic oppression? Are we practicing nonviolent protest and advocating for fairness? Are we working towards unity and recognizing our shared humanity? Remember, Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just dream of a better future, he fought tirelessly for it. His vision remains a beacon of hope, inspiring us to keep striving for justice in every aspect of our lives. So, let's take action, let's learn from history, and let's build a society where every individual can thrive, free from the shackles of injustice.